all this AI search stuff is causing us to figure out what are people typing in to these LLMs to get answers. And what we've been doing since about 2012 is we've watched people back in the old Google days Google things because we felt that we could help our clients have a distinct advantage if we actually understood how humans might react to content, how they search, etc. And we're now applying that in an AI world. So the first thing that I noticed was when we would interview our clients' customers and say, we want to watch you solve a problem, we started realizing that a lot of people, almost half of them, would put brands in that they had already known and heard of. And then when I looked at the prompts that we were tracking, and that most people that do generative engine optimization, they don't include these kinds of prompts. There's research from Gartner, and I will show it to you and I will link to it, that shows that most people ask people in their network for these kinds of things. So what we wanted to do was build out something that kind of helped you to compare how the LLMs see one brand versus another. Now, what I did is I ran a prompt specifically to compare two organizations that are local Philly PR firms, neither of which are doing like listicles and things to intentionally game the answers. And what I've done is I have a training data set, and you can see like the little radar chart here to tell you who's stronger where when we base it off of training data. So no web. And then we say, when we enable web, you can kind of see the difference in these things. And what I think is really important here is if I was Maven PR or AgileCat, two great Philly-based PR firms, AgileCat named our business. AgileCat was one of my first clients ever. If you're in the optimization business, if you look at the web search and where you're getting strongest in web, you're like, could those documents that got pulled in a web search make us stronger when they get used in the training data, right? But if you got weaker in certain areas than you expected, you can go, ooh, now's the time to try to really start to put stuff out about our brands that will help me to show up more in the training data in the future. So, it has a bunch of answers here about the different things that mattered to me. And you have a little matrix here that compares them. These numbers are crap. I'll admit it. It just kind of made it up. That's why it's on GitHub, and that's why you can help me make it better. But what I really liked was when it talked about like AgileCat's primary strength is in naming, I can see that it's Gemini 3 Flash, and I can go to my raw responses, go to Gemini 3 Flash. Gemini 3 is like, if you prioritize strategic communications, media authority, Maven, or high concept creative identity and emotional branding, AgileCat. And if you're AgileCat and you go, these sources are telling me that if your primary concern is naming, which it was in my prompt, and ensuring your prompts have a sticky brand identity in an LLM-saturated world, AgileCat is the stronger fit. So therefore, the tool kind of reads these responses and gives you an answer. Now, let me show you the problem. So I've been comparing people that do a lot of different listicles as their go-to-market strategy versus SEER. We don't do that for ourselves. And what you start seeing is like, I was like, thought leadership. Like I've never seen, at all the conferences I've been at, I've never seen someone from Animals speaking. And that doesn't mean they don't do thought leadership. I've just never seen them in some of the biggest conferences or the things that I typically read, the articles that I'm reading. I don't see them mentioned that much. I mean, wow, they're outperforming us on thought leadership according to the training data. And then if you do web search, it doesn't change much. And I'm starting to notice that this tool does not work really well if you've got a bunch of competitors doing listicles. But where you can basically do a listicle spam check, and you can see like, okay, well, this is their strategy. So now what's happening is, and it goes to show that this stuff works, they're flooding the internet with so much content that is self-promotional that it makes it look like to the LLM that, them and Seer on thought leadership, they're beating Seer Interactive. You're like, God damn. It helped me to very quickly realize that, man, when people use these brute force tactics, one, they're still working. And two, I believe the job to be done is to not even be mentioned in the same arena. If someone's comparing Seer Interactive to a company that's doing this to show up in LLMs, I probably haven't done a good job of branding my agency. In the same way that I don't think people are comparing a Hyundai to a Porsche. Similarly here, what I need to do is do a better job of saying, I don't believe my customers would ever compare these two companies. What I do want to do is compare us to the people that I'm aspiring to be like, the ones that beat us on projects, and to say, I want to be better. I want to be better at those comparisons. Where am I weak and strong? And are those things fit my brand? And if so, I want to make those things better.